And we're here. We're back. How you doing,
How
Bob?
you doing? I'm good. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a long couple weeks. Long couple weeks. Good
It
weeks.
has, man.
Good weeks. Had a little bit
Well,
of
last week was cold.
yeah. It's it's
It's
it's it's, it's,
cold
it's
for
colder
Florida.
than
Forgot where it was.
yeah.
It was acting all up, and I didn't like it.
I told my wife we're gonna have to pack up, and move somewhere warm because Florida isn't the place anymore, man.
Right?
Uh,
We
yeah,
got 27, 28 degrees
yeah. We're gonna have to
for
move to the
for
equator.
like 8 hours. Yeah.
You about a bunch of fallen lizards then, didn't you?
Man,
It
man.
was raining lizards there, wasn't it?
We don't. I mean, we got like little fence lizards, and
Oh yeah.
we don't really have iguanas here.
Yeah,
So,
here we got these agamas. They're orange headed and they're green and purple, and they just go in large. The males have the orange ones, orange heads. Some people call them the Spider-Man lizards or whatnot, but they're decent size, man. They're about that big.
yeah, you're just making stuff up now.
No, no, they're called agamas, and they're taking over though. When we first got down here, we've seen a couple, and now they're
They're everywhere.
they're more than the little lizards that you see running around.
Wow. Now
Yeah,
we've got hundreds of little legends in
yeah.
the house.
Uh,
Hundreds of.
Yeah, it's been the weather's been not ideal for us Florida peeps.
No.
No, I mean when you have to wear a shirt, it's just ridiculous. That's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm back to shorts and tank tops this week, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Today
all
was
good.
good.
But
Today was good. Today's good. Um,
I had to wear long pants to work 3 times last week.
mm,
I've worn
do you?
long pants to work 4 times since I moved to Florida.
And you only got one
Three
pair of
of them were
pants.
last week.
And you only got one pair of pants. You had to wear them dirty 3 days in a row, didn't you?
I only got one pair that I'm willing to wear to work and risk getting grease on.
Yeah. I mean, well, everybody, glad you're back. We're here, and we have a great guest with us tonight. His name is Josh Parsons. He is got his own page called, I believe it's called the Hide and Seek Archives. Josh he'll stone me if I'm wrong. Um, and he's had a couple encounters, and we're going to bring him on and get to know Josh and let him share his encounters. But we've also had some experience with Josh out in the woods too, and we'll talk a little bit about that too because we were all a part of this great idea that the late Carrie Arnold had called the 168. And it was a documentary series that he was going to do over and over and over. But the very first one that we did, it was great. It was great. So with that being said, let's bring on Josh. Josh, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you, Jim?
We're doing good, pretty good too. You kind of drug a little bit there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, it's okay. We'll work we'll work with it. Um, so you and me and Bobby, we have a little bit of a history. We've been on the field together. We broke brush together. Um,
Yeah, and
and
Josh, one of them guys that ain't scared to get into deep stuff. Neither.
oh my God,
He'll
uh,
just plow through it like a bull.
uh, I
Yeah,
think
so many people don't like to do that. They, play around on the edge of the woods, and Josh
yeah,
will go in, and
yeah.
I got props for that. You
Yeah,
know,
Josh, me and Josh, we kind of, I felt because I was the one that volunteered to be that hound dog to go fish these things out behind any bushes or trees to get them running. And it might have been the first night or the second night, Josh. Josh, you'll help me remember this because my memory's terrible. Carrie he put up the drone, and and he's like, "There's something out there. There's something out there." And you and I, without hesitation, and I don't think we had much of a flashlights. We just took off running in the dark, and he guided us on our walkie-talkies. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, I
Uh,
remember that was pretty intense. I think the only thing I had was my Fleur Scout, my little thermal, and yeah, we were trying to flush out whatever he was seeing.
And do you remember
But
where
yeah, I
we ended
remember
up?
that.
Do you remember where we ended up? That
Yeah,
to this day was the dumbest thing because because we were bait for whatever. You remember where we ended up?
Yeah, we ended up in the swamps, kind of surrounded by really tall cattails
Yeah.
and reeds. You couldn't see outside out of this
No.
thing.
No.
Yeah, we were in there with the gators.
We kept hearing movement in the water, and I kept telling Josh, I'm like, that better be a damn Bigfoot, because I don't want to get eaten by a gator, man. But we kept hearing movement in the water, and we're up to our waists and this stuff, and
Oh yeah,
and Carrie's radio, and it's just a little bit further forward. I'm like, Carrie, I don't know how deep this is gonna get, Carrie. We can't see anything. Just a little bit far forward, and once we got forward, and whatever he was seeing had moved, he he radioed in, yeah, I don't feel like this is safe anymore. And in the back of my mind was, this wasn't safe the moment my foot hit the water.
Yeah. The gator was circling around to come at you from behind.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know if it was you or somebody on the radio said, "Carrie, are you sure this isn't an alligator?" You were asking
it
him.
might have been
I
me
think
in
it
the
might have been
panic
you.
because, yeah, it might have been me in the panic
Yeah,
because um, there was that conversation over the radio of, well, if it is an alligator, we wouldn't know because you can't see them in thermal. Um, I found that to be,
yeah,
I found out that's false. I've got a thermal at home in a lake
yep.
20 feet behind my house. We have alligators swimming regularly, and I filmed them swimming by on thermal. But uh, needless to say, that
Especially
was an intense
sunning
night.
themselves, they can hold that heat for a while.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
well,
It was
several
very intense.
several intense nights there, man. I wish we could have hit that second one up. But rest in peace, carry on. He gave us all an opportunity I don't think we would ever had. So um, I owe him for that, and he was a
Yeah, he
good
did.
dude too. Well, tell us how you
He
got
was.
started. Tell us how you got started in this. What was it that got you down the rabbit hole that we're all in, so to speak?
Well, I guess I'm a little different than most people. I was kind of born into the subject. My father was hardcore into the subject, and I was raised into the world of cryptids, and didn't really hit it too hard until we had our first interaction out here at Sam Houston National Forest. My my dad decided to take me and my brother backpacking off a trail called the Lone Star Trail, and we ended up hiking in about a day's worth. So we were in several miles, and we decided to set up camp. Collected firewood, all the precautions you take before it gets dark. And right when the sun started setting, we hear this loud whoop, and me and my dad look at each other, and we're like, "Did you hear what I just heard?" And the next thing you know, we start hearing it all around us. And now, being privy to the subject, we've heard this before. Now, we've heard it on recordings, we've heard it on shows, that kind of thing. Um, this would have been the first time that we've actually heard it. I would say I was like at the time, um, but this went on a good while. Um, it went on most of the night, all around us. I didn't sleep that night. I kept the fire going because I wasn't sure what to think. But that after that instance, that really solidified that we really wanted to get out there and research the subject.
Yeah, Jim, you're muted. You have yourself muted.
I'm muted because I was typing, and when you're typing, it sounds like a horse running across my desk.
Yeah.
I forgot to unmute myself. No, when you guys had heard that whoop, was there anything else that accompanied it? Smell, um, or anything like that, or was it just a vocalization that made you guys realize you weren't alone?
It was just several vocalizations from one side to the other, basically communicating. Thinking back on it now, it sounded like a family. Almost like they didn't realize we were there, and they were kind of communicating their way around us, almost like they were curious, because we were the only ones out there, and like I said, we were a good ways out there. With you, we didn't see anybody else, um, and you're not going to drive out here, out into that spot. But yeah, I feel like it was a group of them. But besides that, there wasn't really anything else. I did stay up all night, keeping the fire going. So because it made me a little nervous because I knew what it could be. Um, but yeah, that was the only thing where the whooping was the whooping.
Cool. Did you guys have any other? You guys just weren't ready for it, were you? Or were you ready for it? Did you have audio recording? Did you have night vision and thermal and stuff like that?
No, we went out there just to backpack, just to be part of nature. We weren't out there doing
Gotcha.
research or anything. It was kind of unexpected.
Gotcha. And then that started it. That kind of sparked it off.
That sparked it off. Like we
Nice.
were pretty well versed at that time in the subject. But after that, us not living too far from Sam Houston or the Big Thicket, we realized, they're right in our own backyard.
Yeah, that's kind of ideal if you want to be a researcher. It'd be ideal for
Yeah.
me, not having to go that far. So what was your next move? What did you do? What was the next thing that hit you was I got it. I got a what?
My dad started reaching out to researchers, and he would relay that to me. We would talk about it. We we also did like a trip to Colorado every year. So we would four wheel. We'd like to go hiking, that kind of stuff out in the mountains. Um, and that's when and that's also where I've had my next, strange uh, encounter. Basically, man, I don't remember how old I was, but we were coming up around a ridge up on a mountain you could see down into the valley. My father was paying attention to the road because if you go too far right, you're going down the mountain. Uh, and I'm looking down in the valley, and I see these two really large figures moving across this valley, and this valley's huge. Um, it would take an elk or a deer a good minute to get across this valley. Well, I saw a big one and a smaller one, and it was only a good couple minutes that I could see it. And we went uh, behind some trees. I told my dad to stop to back up. And when I had seen these things, they were in the middle of the valley. And when we had backed up, which took us only a few seconds, they were gone. They were already across that valley. So they were moving, and they were moving good. And at the time, being a kid, I didn't think much on that, but I started thinking more about it as I got older, and I started thinking how strange that was, how unusual. Um, when I think back on it, the figures seemed bipedal and you know taller, bigger than most animals you see out there. At the time, my dad says, "Oh, you probably saw a bear," um, but I couldn't think, a bear would move that fast across a big valley like that, especially in the few seconds it took us to back up.
Yeah.
Do you remember the colors?
Um, Kind of blackish brown, if I recall correctly. But yeah,
Yeah.
in the valley it was all green. Yeah. So they stuck out like sore thumbs. They were very
Yeah.
easy to see down there. They were just really far away. So like about that big, in my visual.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
bigger one and a small one, but they were moving, and they were moving good. So the couple minutes I was able to watch them, and then when we went behind those trees and then backed up, they were gone. thinking back on it, that's pretty incredible.
You know what? To see something for 2 minutes, that is really something special because most sightings last 2 to 3 seconds. Um, 2 minutes is a long time, and if they looked that big, they were probably at a far enough distance that they didn't know you were there. Um,
Yeah,
that's why it makes it so hard to see them is because they know you're there. So
I think
uh,
they were just trying to get somewhere. They'd even know we were there. We're way up on the ridge of the mountain. Maybe subconsciously they heard the vehicle, but just didn't pay much attention to it, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it was just strange, and especially, those 2 seconds. Like being a kid, it took me a minute to register what I was kind of looking at, and I still didn't
mhm.
quite register it fully. And told my dad, hey, stop! I just saw something down in the valley, and he backs up, and he's like, then of course he's like, oh, it was probably a bear, and we kept going. But that I did not. That was not a bear. They were long, elongated, tall, not unless it's a bear running on 2 feet from that escape from the circus. I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that pretty clearly, and that stuck to me for many many years. Um, but but ever since the incident in Houston, to answer your question, our next thing was we really started paying attention to our surroundings whenever we went out. Um, we I mean, we were always looking for strange things. We always saw like weird structures up in the mountains that you just can't explain, that didn't make sense, that kind of thing. And then I ended up not long after that. I got older. I started getting interested in girls and stuff, so I kind of stepped away from it for a little bit. And so did my dad. He focused more on his music. And then not long before I moved to Michigan, we got in touch with some researchers that were going out into Sam Houston. Well, my father did, and so he started talking to them, and then I ended up moving to Michigan, and that's where I met my wife.
So it was a good move.
Yes.
Well, we should end it like that. I mean, you moved to Michigan and met your wife and happily ever after.
Well,
Just leave it like that. Just leave it like that. Perfect ending to a story.
Well, I'm pretty sure from his Facebook page he's back in Texas.
Yeah.
yes, yes. We got sick of the snow.
Yeah.
That's easy to do. That's why we
Yeah.
live in Florida.
I enjoyed it for the first 2 days I moved there, but after that I was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool for a minute, but it don't go away. It don't go
No,
away for months.
and I got so tired of digging my car out. It just got old.
Mhm.
How
Yep.
much? How much keyboard research did you do after you got a little bit older about sightings in that location and near that location in Colorado?
Um, so at that time, that age, technology was, Google search and all that was becoming a bigger thing, and Facebook was just starting out. So getting information was not as an easy thing as it was now. Um, so the information I was able to get was either word of mouth, um, Sasquatch Chronicles, which has been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
um, and BFRO Facebook page when that was a big thing, or Facebook website. Um, I did as much as I possibly could. I did a lot of reading um, in school about the subject, and as things became more available, I I've become pretty well versed on it because I don't like missing any information involving cryptids, not just Bigfoot. Like when the Missing 411 books came out, I've read those, and and the show, the documentary. My favorite documentary was Legend of Boggy Creek.
I still haven't seen that.
Uh, I've uh, I've watched it about, I don't know, 100 times because because the accounts are real. The people telling the stories are real. They're just
Yeah,
reenactments. Um, but man, I could just go on and on.
that's
Um,
okay. That's okay.
yeah, if you have any questions, just stop me. Um,
Hmm.
anyways, when I moved to Michigan is when I really started to get back into it, back into the research part of it, and that's when I hooked up with some other researchers and went out, and that's how I ended up with you guys out in Florida. Um, but Michigan's where I had my Class A sighting that spooked me pretty bad at the time. Um, this was when was this? This was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It was after 168, maybe a year after. Um, we were out in the Allegan County uh, public hunting area, which is just thousands and thousands of acres of woods. Um, and I was with another person. Um, I'm not going to say his name, but
We know.
uh, huh?
We know. I
We
think.
we know.
Yeah. Um, and it was just me and him, and we were having quite a bit of activity. This area I went to, I would go out by myself because not a lot of people lived close to me. I've been called stupid for going out there by myself, but nobody's willing to go with me, and I really want to get out there and do my research. But anyways, we were walking down this trail, this kind of a game trail, and we kept hearing what sounded like somebody walking around us out in the woods, like from left to right. The other person I was with claimed that he saw heard something run off in front of him, and I did kind of hear something. Um, but it was around midnight, and it was a full moon, so we weren't using flashlights. You could see very well. Um, Not daytime well, but you could see it well enough. I had my FLIR in my hand, and we're out there just looking and listening. Well, I've built this habit of always looking back behind me whenever I'm walking, every so often, and I just so happened to look back and notice that I couldn't see the sun coming through the moon coming through the canopies, through the trees, because it was kind of open above the trail. Um, and so I ended up doing a double take, and as I did that, I saw this really large bipedal figure walk off the trail. Um, and as soon as that happened, my adrenaline just shot up, and my whole body started shaking. And to the other person that was with me, I said, "I just saw one." And then he asked me if I wanted to go over and look, and I said, "No, I want to leave because I don't feel like we're wanted here." And now, seeing this thing was only 10 feet away from me, so I could see hair coming off, the body and the arms. I could not see the head because it was behind branches. Could not see eyes, anything like that. And the thing that spooked me the most is this was around the time when all the leaves were off the tree, so you could hear every step we were making. As it stepped off the trail, it did not make one sound, and that spooked me bad. Um, and at the time,
You,
of course, I didn't even think to lift up my FLIR and video anything because I was so thrown off by the situation.
you were scared. You were
Yeah,
scared. Yeah. When you see one and see the size, you really don't want to go look for it.
No.
Yeah, Jimmy had to talk me across a gate in broad daylight, but I didn't want to go. When you see something literally 4 foot wide, it's like I don't want to go find it. I want to see it from back here. I don't want to go over there. It's scary. It
Yeah.
really is scary.
It was. Yeah. I was shaking the whole time, and the crazy thing is like there were two of us, and as we were getting towards the exit of the trail, towards the walkway to the cars, we hear two wood knocks, really loud wood knocks, almost like they were counting us. Just one, two.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're leaving. Um, but I will say, after this incident, it instead of scaring me for the woods, it just drew me in. Like, that solidified that these things are real,
Mhm.
and I want to know more about them.
Yeah.
It became an obsession.
And sometimes I scare myself at how obsessed I get with it.
Yeah. Well,
Because
I
I
know that you
do
were
end.
talking. Go ahead. I'm
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know when you're talking about the fear you had, I can understand being spooked because your mind starts going worst case scenario at the time. It's not going, oh, great, he left and he's happy and I'm going to live.
Yeah.
It's he left. I couldn't hear him. He didn't leave. He's going to snatch me up. It's
He's
like
circling around.
you
He's
got all
circling
these
around.
you're playing all these groom scenarios in your head that just make you even more freaked out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the crazy thing is like I'm out there looking for them, and I'm not expecting to see that one up that close. Like I'm not expecting that. So it not only does it spook me, it throws me off. It threw me off at the time,
yeah,
Yeah, you're looking to go find them, but you want to see them 20, 30, 40, 50 yards up.
which
Not
is what I was expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, not 10 or not so close that they're blocking the moonlight from hitting
Yes.
you. That puts it in a different perspective when it's like that.
And what also solidified that sighting is the next day I went out with a guy named Val Zavala, and he is a retired police detective. And we went out there and we found imprints in the leaves and the ground, about a good 12, 13 inches, pretty big. Um, like my feet are, I wear size 12 shoes. Um, but I couldn't make indentions into the ground like this thing had, and you can see it where it had crossed over and walked over down to the ravine. So that even confirmed it even more. Like I didn't imagine that, and that was the very next day. I don't know if I mentioned that.
yeah, yeah, um,
And he
yeah.
he he saw it too, so he was able to see what I was seeing. He brushed the leaves away. You could even see the prints even better. It was exciting in a way.
Thrilling, exciting, validation,
Yes.
confirmation, all those things that you're seeking, minus the fear the night before.
Yeah.
That fear is kind of a given when you're not expecting it. Even though you're looking for them, you're not expecting to see them. And then when you do, it's that it shouldn't be a sudden realization, but it is.
And don't get me wrong, I still get scared when I'm out there, especially by myself. I just I've figured out ways how to get past that and focused on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm,
But I still get, it makes your anxiety build up. You start
mm-hmm.
shaking, almost like a hunter shakes after he shot a deer. It's no, you're getting activity, but you're worried. Like, don't come take me away.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, and
When
I've had other things happen since then. Both out there and here, quite a bit actually.
let's hear about what is what is your more memorable ones that you're about ready to talk about? And you can also talk about 168 too on things that you've experienced. There's no non off topic things here. Cryptids are cryptids, man.
Exactly.
Um,
But 168, the things that threw me off, or not, I say thrown off, but that really caught me off guard. That really intrigued me was more of a, there was more of a supernatural aspect to it out there. Seeing these orbs of lights firsthand. I hear stories of people seeing them out in the swamps and out in Florida like that, but actually getting to see them and you go, nope, that's not a firefly, because you know what a firefly looks like.
Yeah.
mhm.
And that was one of the things I saw quite a few times out there. Um, which just I just couldn't explain it. You'd see like the one that really stuck out to me was over by the power lines, which you've been by, Jimmy.
Mhm.
You know where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And seeing this orb go across the treetops and then just vanish, and it's about this big. It's huge.
And it's from a
Unless
distance.
unless they're feeding those fireflies steroids, that's not.
No.
And it didn't go in and out like a firefly either. It stayed lit and then just went out. And
Yeah,
there's
we have
no
one of our.
houses. Oh, I'm
We have
sorry.
one of
Go
our.
ahead.
No, I was just say we have one of our another guy in chat that was there with us. Jeff Townsend was there at with the 168.
Mhm.
He's in chat.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yep, I remember.
uh, did when you seen were you with the group when there was like 10 of y'all that saw the orbs at once? Were you with the group when everybody else went out to the group campground? There was like 10 people out there that was in a group that seen them,
Oh,
and they got
yes.
them. I think they were running thermal and they were running night vision, and they weren't able to see them on one of the. They could see them on one, but not the other.
Yes, I
And I don't remember
remember
which
that.
one.
That was the campground that was closed off, so you um, couldn't really camp there at the time. Um, I think they forgot to put the lock on the gate or something. We opened the gate and got in that way,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. Um, so yeah, I remember that. They had a pavilion, and we were under the pavilion, and two ladies were with us. I can't recall their names.
Probably
Um, y-
Diane. Probably Stephanie and Lynn, most likely.
yeah, it might have been. Also, what's his name? He has his own show.
Russell from
Um,
Mogollon.
no, um,
Was it Barry
Barry
Browning?
Browning.
no, it wasn't Barry.
Mark Newbill. Because I know Mark Newbill was out there, and so was Barry. Um, oh, Clay
Maybe
was Clay out there.
it might have been Mark. Clay was there too.
Okay,
Yeah, it might have been Mark. He does that show.
Sawdust Beast.
Yep, that's him. That's
Yeah,
that's the
Yep.
one. He was out there with us too. And he was actually filming an episode, I believe, while we were out there.
yeah,
And that's when the lady spotted it. And I only caught a glimpse, but I didn't get a full view like they did.
yeah. Thank you, Diane. It wasn't Stephanie. It was Stevie B.
Steve
Stevie
B.
Stevie
B.
B.
Stevie B. And
Isn't that
Miss
actually
Lynn.
isn't her name actually Stephanie though?
I don't know. Stevie
I
B is
think
what
it
I always
is.
call her.
I think Stephanie is actually
Okay, all
her
right,
name.
cool. Well,
I don't think you were off when you said that.
okay,
But yeah, most people in the Bigfoot community know her as Stevie B. But
yeah.
But it
I
was
think
those lights
Stephanie
for
might be
me.
the name.
And finding that footprint right behind camp, that
Mhm.
was really interesting. Just the one single big footprint.
Yeah, 20
Right there on
yards
the
from
sand
camp.
trail. Right there on the sand
Yeah,
trail. Just like what, 80 feet from the fence,
yeah,
80,
and
100
about
feet.
that deep into the sand, I could
Yeah,
not get my foot in. I could barely make a print about like that. It's like whatever it was had dug its heel in and like super jumped or something.
Yeah, that or
yeah.
Um,
that it was just super heavy.
um, Yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of X's left out there out in the woods that you could see. I remember seeing a lot of those. Um, no Man's Land, I really found interesting. I wish I would have gotten more time out there.
No Man's Land is a great place. It's if you go a certain time of the year, it's easier to trek in because the marsh isn't up. But most of the time, I'm knee deep or waist deep into swamp water, going about 100, 150 yards to No Man's Land once you cross over the little tiny canal. Um, you get out there, and you go through one tree canopy, and it's just like, okay, it's kind of cool. You get to the next one, things seem a little more grim. You get to that third one, and it starts to feel real, and a fellow researcher who took us, he was the main reason we were at these locations, told us, don't be in that third canopy at night, you'll never make it out alive, but during the daytime it feels heavy in there. But that first canopy is where I was making my research out there at No Man's Land. Made several trips out there and had the greatest print I've ever seen, but I was distracted by, I was leaving apples and oranges and stuffed animals with big glittery eyes. Seeing what would get messed with that drew attention. Putting different things, different colors or whatnot, trying different things all at once, and seeing what worked. They didn't have nothing to do with the oranges. Whatever was out there wanted nothing to do with the oranges, but they ate the apples. An eyeball was plucked out of one of the rubber animals. One of the stuffed animals was missing, but with my trail cams, got a lot of hog activity, deer, squirrel coming up, sitting right in front of the trail camera, like, I see you.
Yep.
So, I can't put heads or tails on saying what it was. I mean, there's obviously animals out there that's going to take that kind of stuff, but it is a creepy place. No Man's Land is a good, solid place to go. They don't make it easy to get to it. They just, unfortunately, they don't make it easy to get to it. I think it's purposely done too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Huh.
When you got to trek in a mile and a half, go through, and you get to a trail, and then you can walk out this trail a quarter mile till you're out. You can come out that trail, but you're not allowed to go in that trail. It's hard to get to, but if you get to it, you can come out. Doesn't make sense that they wouldn't let you go in a place that you can come out.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
No.
Sounds like
Yeah.
Disney World.
Well, that's also like a park ranger telling you, do not get off the trail on the left side of the trail.
Yeah.
Don't do it. What do? You do exactly what we did. You get off the trail as soon as you get out of the park ranger's line of sight.
Well, we technically didn't disobey him. He said, don't take any trails to the left. And,
Yeah.
we got out of his sight. And I looked at Bobby and said, he didn't say we couldn't go in the woods to the left. He said, don't take any trails to the left. So we just ducked right on into the woods. So you had some encounters and instancing things near your house.
Yeah. I'm kind of partially living in Sam Houston National Forest, but I go to an area. Are you still there, Jimmy?
Yeah,
I was taking a drink. I was taking a drink off screen, and I didn't want to be rude.
I thought we lost you. Okay. We Sam Houston is an area I like to go to a lot, and there's just one specific spot. I don't want to give away the location because this spot was given to me in confidence. But it's an area that Wes Germer has been taken out to before, and people have been chased out of before. I go out there a lot.
Was that gentleman named Bob?
Huh?
Was that gentleman that took him out there named Bob or Robert?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yep. And it's a pretty hot area. There's a couple other researchers that I meet up with. That's a part of TAPS. That's the group my dad's a part of. That don't want to go, or are kind of iffy about going back out there because they were chased out one time. Um, but, this actually happened a couple nights ago to me. I Was it a couple nights ago? When was that? It was this week. Um, I have recorders out there, and I there was big thunderstorms coming in, and I didn't have them waterproofed. So I wanted to get out there, and I had got off work real late. So um, where this area is at, you have to walk into it about a little over a mile. Um, so I ended up borrowing my father's electric bike, um, and it was pitch black. So I zoomed in there in about 15 minutes. Anyways, I had gotten out there to the spot around where I had put my recorder, but I had trouble locating it. So I'm sitting walking around there in the woods. I'm by myself, trying to find this dang recorder. I'm like, where did I put that thing? And um, while I'm looking, I hear this noise to my left, like kind of loud rustling noise. And I look to my left, and I get a glimpse of eye shine, kind of midway up the tree trunk, and almost like a head had turned away, like didn't want me to see. So I kind of stared for a second, and then pretended I didn't see it, and kept looking for that recorder. And at that point, I wasn't I didn't I, w- I had equipment, but I wasn't equipped at the time because I really wanted to get these recorders set up, ready to go before the storm comes in. And so I got that done, and I pedaled out of there pretty quick. But that was one of the weird instances that have happened out there. Um, Another time it was me, my father, and my brother. We actually we stayed pretty late out there, and we had something yell immediately to the left of us, and I that audio is actually on my page that you can listen to. Um, and then it tries to mimic an owl at the end of it, which is hilarious to me because it failed miserably. Um, um, and then I caught a wood knock and another yell off in the distance. Um, but yeah, that's one of the few things that have happened out here. Um, I've had quite a few things happen in Michigan to me too, out in that area. Um,
Have you actually personally had any type of sightings in your new area, or just
in
vocals?
Texas,
Yes.
no,
Okay.
no,
Just activity and vocals and such, but not
yeah,
actual
activity and
recognizing.
vocals. I'm trying real hard to get a sighting, but they are rather elusive here.
Yeah.
um,
It's a problem.
they will come and mess with you, but they will stay just out of sight. Um, I know the TAPS team has gone out to an undisclosed area up further north Texas and have gotten a couple walking away on thermal, climbing down a tree and walking away. You can actually see it on their site. And we're discussing of taking me out there, um, and see if I can get some audio and maybe some visuals. But the story with that, supposedly a guy who owns the property in that area shot and killed one, and they absolutely hate him. So, from what they've told me is that when they're out there and he comes, but he won't stay because he gets nervous and then leaves. The activity picks up big time. Um, so I'm hoping to go there. We've got an expedition planned for Oklahoma in a couple weeks, so we're gonna go out there. I've been there once before. It was the first time we went. It was mildly quiet. There was a strange figure caught on a thermal, but couldn't really explain what it was. Almost ghost like. Um, because there are some Indian burial grounds around there, and you know the weird stuff that happens with those things. Um, so I'm hoping that the activity will be a lot higher this time around because the guy that directed us to the area says these things will come up to his house and bang on the walls. And when we went to talk to him, he was showing us the marks and stuff that they were leaving, which was real interesting. Um, but
That doesn't sound very. That sounds like you'd be living in fear. You know, just having something come up beating on your walls.
well, this place is not his permanent home.
Okay,
He only uses it for hunting, like it's a hunting,
I
almost like a
got you.
hunting cabin. So he always goes with another person.
Maybe their goal is to keep him out of there. If they want him scared,
It,
you don't want him in there. So,
Yeah.
it could be. It's.
so,
I mean,
so
there
this
is.
this guy up north, Josh, that supposedly shot one. When researchers go out there without him, it's kind of flatline. But if he makes an appearance, then the activity picks up. But
Yes, anytime he shows up, or he was just there, I've heard the vocals and they are spooky. They're just screaming and yelling and in one of the
so
recordings you can hear some of the researchers sleeping and snoring in the tent, and then you can hear vocals in the background because he just came in and then left.
so it's probably in his best interest to not stick around.
Or
Yes,
be alone.
They know who he is. It's like they can smell him.
that's how they caught the two walking away because he was
Yeah,
there, and yeah, the attention's drawn onto him. So I
that's
think
pretty interesting. Really, it really is.
it is very interesting, and I think I don't know how true it is that he shot and killed one, but he obviously did something that did not make them very happy. Because anytime the activity does pick up, it seems aggressive.
There's truth to the fact that they can't stand him, and when he shows up,
Yeah,
they let it be known. So
yeah.
it's sounds like a good possibility that maybe he did.
Sounds like your everyday in-law. I mean, that's just my opinion. You
Yeah,
show up and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing
yeah, exactly.
here?" Your dad. You said your dad's a part of a team, right?
Yeah, taps. He's part of taps.
Taps. What does that? What's the acronym for Taps? I've heard it before.
Um,
Texas something.
yeah, here I can tell you. Give me a second, real quick.
Sure, sure.
I sometimes I have to look back whenever I do anything with them to make sure I'm saying it right.
And there's a couple other recognizable names in that group, right? Um,
Um, yeah, there's Shane. He's the founder of Taps.
okay.
Um,
Is there a big guy with a cowboy hat?
no.
No, I might think of something else.
Yeah, Shane is his name's Shane Lee.
Okay.
He's the founder of the group. Let me see. Okay, it is the acronym is Texas Acknowledgement, Awareness, and Preservation of Sasquatch. So it's a
Gotcha.
non-kill group.
I gotcha. I would have never guessed it. I was thinking the P was paranormal.
Uh,
That's the only thing I could think of.
well,
That's the only thing I could
there
think
is
of.
the Ghost Hunters Taps
Yeah,
TAPS.
that's what I
Yeah,
was thinking. Maybe that's what I was
Yeah,
yeah,
thinking of.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Um, you got any go-to equipment when you go out?
Yes.
Day and night. What do you got? Day and night.
Pretty much the same thing. I keep day and night. I have a backpack that I have ready to go. That's got everything I need. A couple recorders. I have a really good thermal. Because I've upgraded from that little Scout. I've got something that's high def that'll actually pick things up. um, I've got my GoPro. I've got extra batteries. I've got power banks. Um, I've got camera traps. Um, and of course, I've got essentials like a fire starter, knife.
Yeah.
All the basic stuff you need out in the woods. I've even got a life straw. You never know.
Yeah. What? No. With your camera trap, are they just trail cams, or are they something that different specifically?
Um, I I have a couple that are different. They're the one I just got that I haven't gotten to test out yet. Um, was recommended to me by a researcher because of the reaction time and the quality. Um, it is night vision, but it takes photos and pictures and picks up audio. So it's like a recorder and a camera trap in one.
I gotcha.
So it's something I haven't used before, and it is a little different than a regular camera trap because regular camera traps don't usually, have really good audio.
Yeah.
But so I'm looking forward to trying it.
Um,
Um,
You find out real fast when you get a good thermal how bad the cheap ones are, don't you?
yes.
Um,
yeah.
I remember I've got a little AGM one, and then Jim has the next model up, which for $100 more, it's considerably better. But
Shout
then
out to Kathy Westerman for gifting
we,
that. That was an amazing gift. And
yes,
she's an amazing lady too.
but then we hooked up with Johnny Two Bears one day,
Oh my
and
God.
he's got like what is his? Is it a pulsar? Man, that
It's
thing
amazing. That's what I know
Oh,
what it is.
that's the one my
it's
dad has is the Pulsar.
it's just
Yeah.
night and day, man. It's like what's this piece of garbage I have in my hand?
Johnny's got great equipment. He's a good dude too.
Yeah, he
So when
does.
when you do want to find a good thermal, you want to make sure it has at least 50 shutter speed.
Hmm.
That means it'll be either from really decent or really good quality.
Yeah,
Faster refresh rate.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Because in order to have that faster refresh rate, you got to have better quality. You're not going to need that with low quality.
not now. Does your dad's pulsar have like Johnny's does, where in the viewfinder there's like a little 1 inch square that's like a 20 times zoom? So you can look at this area, and if you see something, you just center it, and it's like a 20 times zoom to help identify some things that are at distance.
It's like a
His
It's
picture in
does,
picture.
yeah.
yeah, his does have a zoom on it. Now, whether it's that kind of zoom, I'm not sure. Like mine is a off-brand that I
Uh,
did a lot of research, and my wife did research, and she's the one that actually found it. And I very happy with it. And so the cool thing about that is like you're not limited to just the thermal itself because the thermal is this big,
Hmm.
but it is very very good. It picks up very well, very high def. It uses everything in your phone, including the camera, and will utilize all that together to make a good image. And it does audio, does pictures, video. It has heat tracking. You can set it to track heat at a certain temperature to automatically start recording. And all that programming is based off of your phone, not the thermal. So
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
there's an app that came with it. So you've got multiple settings you can use. I've tinkered with it. I always stick with icy hot. The white
Hmm.
among the
yeah, the
dark
white hot. Yeah.
because that sticks out a lot more. And another thing I like to do is like if I catch something on thermal and you're not sure if it's a heat signature, you change the shade. And if the shade's still showing red or a different color, then you know it's giving off heat.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Because sometimes you get those images you're not really too sure about. So I'm able to do that. What I like to do sometimes if I'm in camp and we're eating or something, I'll set my thermal onto a tripod and have it record any heat movement, anything like that, and it'll automatically start recording it. And I can always look back and see what it caught. That uh, in itself is really cool. And the thing about the thermal is I didn't have to pay the price of a pulsar. I paid probably a little over a quarter of the price.
Oh wow! I mean, it sounds like a pretty neat piece of equipment too.
It
Yeah,
is.
I purchased a motorized camera mount that you can put on a tripod, and it will do a 360. It will tilt up. It will tilt down. It's remote control, and so, like if I can ever get my psionics to work correctly with the app and link up to my phone, I can mount my psionics on a tripod, on my 9-foot tripod, have it sitting above the tent. I can sit inside my phone and I can move it with the remote, and I can glass all the way around in the dark in my tent, not have to get out and record, have it right there on my phone. It's a really amazing piece of equipment. Just I can't get my equipment to work.
See, I've wanted to do that. I've wanted to drop some money on a tripod that's remote controlled so I can do that with this,
Yeah,
but I've yet to do it.
yeah. The mount itself just goes on top of the tripod. You just screw it on, and it's just motorized and remote control. It'll go on any tripod, um, any standard tripod or whatnot. It will be helpful for the person that has the correct tools, like especially if you want to sit it on your truck and you're inside your truck. You know what I mean? And you've got your thermal, and you're just inside your truck in a safe place or whatnot. Um, it's a handy little piece of equipment if it's utilized right. And I haven't utilized it right.
Especially with the thermal Josh has that you can set to come on and start recording and follow heat.
Mhm.
Um, you're sitting there just slow rotation, and if it sees something, it's automatically going to kick on and start recording that.
Yeah,
That sounds like a pretty good pair.
yeah.
That
It was.
really does.
If I remember right, it was only like 80, $90 or something like that.
Yeah.
But we're self-funded. All this stuff's expensive. I was I was thinking in my head, your wife did the research because she's like, I ain't letting you spend all that money.
That is probably 100% true.
I always
this-
tell my wife after the fact, like, I love you. What'd you do? I love you. You did something. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You choose to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when I think we all probably have great wives, so we're in really
We
no
do.
real danger. Um, when did you do any conventions or town halls?
Yeah. Yeah. I used
Did
to
you?
do the Michigan Bigfoot Conference.
How did
The
those go?
They went really well. The last one I did, Russell Accord came.
Mhm.
Robert Kreider, of course. We had I had all the pretty big guys come out. It did very well. We did a Bigfoot call contest. That was
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah,
Um, and Russell's. I loved Russell's uh, demonstration. It was really cool.
yeah. Robert makes those parabolics, don't he?
Yep.
And those are
Yeah.
supposed to be kind of like top of the line type of parabolics, from what I
Yeah, they
heard.
work really good. My father ended up buying one from them, and man. Well, I tell everybody you can hear a cricket fart from a mile away.
Nice.
I think he 3D prints the housings on those, don't he?
He does, and he paints them himself.
Yeah.
Well, one of the guys at 168 had one, didn't he? Chad?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think he had
Yeah.
it set up right though. Yeah, so I was
don't-
running the parabolic that night that we got the house and the rock throw, and this thing had to be 60 yards from us. We were at a 90-degree point. I was this way with Mike, and there's Chad and Christopher Noel and some other person, and that's when there was this big howl off to our right, and I had that parabolic, but it kept going out on me. Like I'm hearing sound and all of a sudden nothing, and I'm hearing sound and I'm doing nothing. I'm tapping the dish, I'm hearing sound, nothing. And then when I tap it, it comes back on the whole time. 30 seconds, 10 seconds of on off, of tapping. Turns out it was a short in the headphones, where the headphones go back plug into the jack. So the whole time there's this tapping going on.
Well,
There didn't
man.
need to be.
Yeah.
There didn't need to be. It was the headphones that were messing up, not the Parabolic. So I was really irritated about that because when you got a high dollar piece of equipment and a high quality piece of equipment, and then you got a
Mhm.
$7 part, well, the wires were showing on the headphone jack where it
Oh.
bends. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, Chad, you got to use better headphones, man. Because
Yeah.
the Parabolics were great, man. It was awesome. It's probably the best Parabolics I've heard.
Yeah, his parabolics are really good. They're actually Russell Accord actually bought one from him. So he uses that on the show. Um, and he really likes it as well.
Yeah,
That's also who Johnny got his parabolic from, was
yeah,
Robert Crider.
Yep.
yeah.
We're actually talking about doing another Colorado trip with Robert Kreider going out there, and because Taps did it once, but I couldn't make it because I was either sick or I had to work. I don't remember. Um, but this time I'm going to be sure I'm going to be there. But they had a lot of activity. They had Jason Kinsey out there.
Hmm.
Um, I'm sure you know who he is.
Yeah. Bobby and I have been in the field with him
Yeah, he's a character.
at best. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Whole lot of energy. Kind
Oh
of
my goodness.
jealous. I'm kind of jealous the amount of energy this guy has.
Hmm.
Um, he's an entertainer. He's an entertainer.
He is.
Um, and he does good video quality too. Does really good video.
Yeah. I remember when he was up there with us in the UP on that expedition, and he saw something with somebody else that spooked him, that he ended up sleeping in the car that night. He didn't want to sleep in the hammock again. But I think they saw some eyes or something looking at him. I don't remember exactly what happened. I'd have to see his show because I was out there too, but I had broken my ankle, so I was back at the camper trying to rest.
No, no.
So I missed out on quite a bit of it, but I tried to be out there. And Robert Kreider kept telling me to get off my ankle, but I was just limping around. I'm like, I don't want to miss this.
Yeah. It's hard for us guys, men, to swallow our pride. It really is, especially around a bunch of other men. At
Mhm.
home, I'm the biggest baby. I'm the biggest baby in the house at home, and my wife's like, "Oh, you okay? No, I'm dying. You're hungry. That's it." You know, I'm the biggest baby at home. Around other men, you know, you kind of you go farther than you should sometimes.
Especially when we're sick.
Yeah, yeah. Got anything else you want to share?
Um, Let me think here. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure I'll have more after these upcoming expeditions.
Yeah, I know you
Um,
got lots of little encounters and structures and prints and what's this?
yeah,
What's the biggest print you guys have found? Well, the strangest one.
three toes on a. Uh, it was on a pipeline, an old pipeline, where there's no trees, so it gets muddy. Um, and I wasn't the one that found it, but that's the strangest that's been out there.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen the
Okay,
cast and the
I got you.
picture. Yeah.
How,
Uh,
was it long and narrow, wide? Was it as big as a Bigfoot shape, or
it was a little smaller than the Bigfoot shape, more prominent in the front with the toes. Um, and the toes were really, really bloated. Yeah, just like that. The toes weren't as far apart, and it wasn't that big. But yeah, the toes were kind of bulgy, just like that.
yeah? We keep other than was it Boggy Creek, Bob?
Yeah, yeah.
Other than Boggy Creek, I hadn't heard of Three Toes, and so when we casted a bunch of these in the Ocala National Forest, we didn't really know what to think, but I'm starting to hear more and more about three-toed prints, and I'm more interested about the three-toed prints.
Well, that's
It's
because
just
we found probably 40 of them
yeah,
in a what a 100-yard radius. We
yeah,
probably found
And
30 or
what I'm
40 three-toed
noticing,
prints.
with the three toes is they're like encounters that are associated with where these are found seem to be more aggressive, more upfront,
Mm,
if that makes sense.
yeah. Where we found this one. This one's a 17 inch. We got 17-inch, 15-inch, and 13-inch. Um, so we aren't saying that that's a Bigfoot print. There's something out there with a Bigfoot and three toes, and there's a breeding population of them.
Yep.
Um, and
But you
there's
know, too, Jim, the Kathy Westerman's famous picture she
mhm,
took at that area.
yeah, she took it
At the
exactly that
same
spot.
area where we have found got to be 43
Yeah,
toe prints.
steps away from where we cast these tracks. Yeah,
And you know, Josh, you see prints all the time that they're
Yeah.
not really castable. You can tell it's a
Yeah.
print, but you also know you're not going to waste any plaster on it.
yeah. We didn't have
So
enough plaster.
yeah, we found dozens of them, but Kathy Westerman got what I believe is a pretty decent photo of a Sasquatch right there in
Juvenile,
that area. Yeah,
small juvenile. Yeah, it really looks spot on. Like it looks like what you would think you're looking. It looked like a baby patty almost.
yeah,
Um, and and I'm happy as a peach that she got it too.
yeah,
Somebody got
yeah.
something.
Yeah, because what people don't realize is these they all look different. They're not. Everybody's thinking they're all going to look like Patty and her print, but that's not the case.
Nope,
It's not the case
no,
at all.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just like the Yeti. People expect it to be white. It's not white.
Yeah,
All the sightings, it's brown or orange hair. The only reason that some have been reported white is from being covered in snow.
yeah.
And there's a lot of misconceptions.
yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. You shared a lot of things. I would love to, unless you want to share it on the show about what model you got for your thermal, because that sounds really nifty to have. Being that small. If we're already holding your phone in your hand anyway, why not have, instead of holding a phone and a thermal and trying to be an octopus? I mean, it'd be really cool to know what exactly it is that you got,
It's
so
called
we could add it to the arsenal.
it's called Night Eye.
Night Eye.
Yeah, Night
Forgive me
Eye.
for writing this down because I don't have a memory anymore.
It was about $500-600.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I can tell you.
Night, Mikey. Mikey got our good buddy Mikey. He's going to take off. Thanks for stopping in, and thanks everybody in the chat for stopping in as well, spending some time with us. Josh is a friend with us, but we've hung out out in the field with, and he's fearless when we're out there as a group, going in the thick of it. And we went through some thick stuff on a couple of different nights, with some palmettos that were 4 feet over our head, and just tromping through them without reservation.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that would do that. There are some people that are, again, some people don't even like to do the nighttime, and I get it. It's creepy out there at night, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
You're minimizing your research if you only focus during the day. With that being said, I haven't been out in the field in a bit, so I don't go out as much as I'd like to. Family is first, and busy in life. Bigfoot's always going to be secondary, third, fourth, whatnot. It's not my priority. But I just want to thank you for coming on and taking the time to have
absolutely
have us hear your encounters and share your encounters and whatnot.
Yeah,
I want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, I want you to take it away and
I
tell us.
well, I was going to say, I put in the chat. It's actually thermal XI
Thermal
Thermal.
XI.
or thermal IX, or however I put it in the chat.
Okay.
I'm looking
I don't see
at
it yet, but I'm sure it'll show.
Thermal IX. Yep.
Thermal IX. EYE or just I?
EYE.
Okay.
They got different brands.
Hmm. Well, they had some thermals here at the last Bigfoot conference in Ocala. There was a guy
Oh my
specifically
God.
set up for thermals. Now, um, I am not here to offend any ladies or any gentlemen or whatnot, but this thermal was so powerful you could see through clothes.
Oh wow.
You could definitely tell the gender of people with this thermal.
Sounds expensive.
It
They
it
were.
was remarkable. You could see the stubble holes where the stubble go in people's faces and beards and what. Um, it was an incredible. He had an incredible array of
Yeah.
stuff, and gosh, they started from like what was it,
I think
1,500?
that I think his cheaper ones started at about 4,500
Was it
for his
45?
cheap ones, yeah.
Huh.
But the one he was
Wow.
showing and letting us look through was about $9,000.
Yeah, it was amazing, man.
But yeah,
I was,
Jim ain't lying to you. You could look at somebody's pants and tell if it was male or
yeah.
female. It was pretty awesome.
It
No,
was
no, in my opinion, you don't really need something that high tech to be out there looking. You need something to where you can see what you're looking at. You don't need
right.
to see what gender it is.
But
Well, this was
you
meant for. It
also
was a scope. It was a scope for a rifle. I
Oh,
believe they
okay.
were. Weren't they mostly all scopes, Bob?
yeah.
And so it was a scope for a rifle. So it's meant for distance. So the sensitivity on this thing is supposed to be uber powerful, so you can identify from 1,000 yards away type of thing.
Yeah,
Oh, I
see
And
got you.
that wasn't. Yeah.
that's the problem with my thermal is I can like I've got neighbors across the street that have cows, and I can go out there and I can see half a dozen white dots on the thermal, but you cannot identify it in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form, no matter how much I zoom it. But you're a couple hundred yards away. Um, with the more expensive thermal you get, basically, the better identification you can get at distance.
Yeah.
I really think sometimes thermals are something you do get exactly what you pay for. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
And they are getting cheaper. They are slowly
they
getting
are.
cheaper.
Slowly but surely. I found
Yeah.
for me, because we got a long drive once we get off the blacktop to get to the research areas that I go to, and then you've got hundreds and hundreds of yards of trails, maybe even miles. I've found that an e-bike has become a saving grace for energy. It's getting somewhere faster. You're able to cover a lot more ground. You'll you'll see something on Google Earth and go, it's like a mile back. I want to go check it out. And you get there and it was a complete bust. And you're like, damn, I got to walk all the way back, and it was for nothing.
Yep.
An e-bike is an amazing piece of equipment if you have trails to get you to where you want to go. If it's really really thick, like some of the stuff we were going through in 168, it's just going to be a
No.
hindrance. You don't want to take it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the places that we go, there's open enough area that e-bike can come in handy, and they're getting to be a little more cheaper than they used to be. When you used to be able to start out buying them for $1,200 at least, now you can pick them up all day long for $500-600, and that's new.
Yeah.
They're really helpful to me, and I've got a little basket on mine, so I'm able to put my plaster, my water, some other things, plus my backpack, but I have my camera on while I'm driving. And there's all kinds of little things that will help move
You
this thing
remember,
forward.
Jim, when you were just talking about how you're tougher when you're around the guys?
Say that again.
You remember just a few minutes ago you were talking about how you were tougher when you're around the guys?
Yeah.
You just told us you have a basket on your bike.
Yeah, well, it came with the bike. I bought it from the neighbor. It was called like a wolf. It's called like a wolf port. So he has two little chihuahuas that he would put in the basket, and it had these little paw print cover on it or whatnot. So I just use it for, I get
Hold
you.
on.
I got you.
You got
Little elbow job. I got you.
you got to call
Huh?
it a saddlebag or something.
Saddlebag. Yeah. My
It's a
research.
satchel, like
It's
Indiana Jones. It's not a
yeah.
purse; it's a satchel.
Keep us
Yeah.
everyone in 24. Yeah. Um, right on. Well, we're gonna call it a show, and it was a good show.
Okay.
We enjoyed having you on. And you and we keep in contact every so often and whatnot. I believe that's going to continue because you're a great dude. And loved hanging out with you out in the field. Bobby and I, we were out there with you, man, just pushing through it. And it was only 6 or 7 of us out there. I'm not sure
Yeah.
everybody else would have done what we did.
No.
Um, I
No,
was,
that was actually that Friday night, and
yeah.
we went trampling through some pretty
Christopher Noel,
thick
man,
crap.
he was
He
right
was
there
there.
with us.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was there.
right there
Yeah, I
with us,
remember.
man. He had the dirtiest feet I've ever seen on a human being. Um, Chris is a nice dude, man. He's a really good guy. Smart as anything you can imagine. He's a smart guy. Um, but I want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. It was good seeing you, Jeff, and Miss Diane and Cashew held everything down. My cousin and my wife popped in, and Patrick Noble was here, and Mikey V, and we had a couple new people. Raptor guy. I don't have my contacts in. I took them out. They were bothering me. I just want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out. We're going to have a show next Thursday. Next Thursday, we're going to have Mike Miller. I believe he used to be on Night Callers, or I think that's what it's called, from Ohio. His encounter with his buddy and his son was on the. It was called the first season was called Terror in the Woods, and I went to their presentation at Cherry Log, Georgia, at the Expedition Bigfoot Museum, and they put on one heck of a presentation because they got a lot of amazing audio that just will chill you, man. It's these things are coming in on them, and you can hear them coming in on them, and so he's going to share some stuff with us, and I'm glad to have him on too. He's a super cool guy. And then after that, so it's going to be on that'll be the 3rd, maybe next Thursday. Next Thursday show is going to be at 8, and that's not Wednesday at 7. And then the 11th, we're going to have Doug Highcheck on. And Doug was what was he, producer for Monster Quest and so many other things. This guy's traveled all over the world. He's got a lot of great information. He's had some encounters, I believe, and he's a tech guy too. So I could learn a lot from him, but I'm too dumb to learn from anybody. But Doug's got a lot of great information, so we'll have Doug on, and then I got a couple other people lined up to try to get them set in stone. I won't announce it yet until they are. But we got some good shows coming up as well. All of our shows have been good. All of our shows have been great, and I want to thank everybody for coming on. You got one more time. Your Facebook page is Hide and Seek Research Society on Facebook.
Yes, it's Hide and Seek Research Society because I have Hide and Seek Archives, which is my podcast and my YouTube, and but the Research Society is where I actually post all my research, and it's a research group I've put together actually this year. So
that link is in the chat. We put it in the chat.
Yeah, we put the link at the very first chat.
I put it in about midway through. So if anybody's looking for it, it's in the chat.
Yep, the very first post in the chat was the link.
And there will be a lot of stuff coming up that I'm going to be posting on there because it's starting to warm up a little bit. So we're going to be getting out a lot more. So I'm expecting to have quite a bit on that page.
Right on. Well, cool. Keep us updated on if things happen, and what we'll do is on the show we can throw your link in so people can come check you out. You don't have to be on the show. We will, like if we have somebody else on, because we're here for everybody. We're not just obviously we got researchers on and whatnot.
Yeah.
We'll post the links if you have something happen or some great evidence or something. Reach out to us if you feel like it, and we will share that link to your page on our podcast so people can go check after they're done watching our show.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they can leave right in the middle of it. I do sometimes.
Well, right now I've got some photos and some audio that was caught in Sam Houston, but that's all I've got right at the moment.
That's
yeah.
that's enough. I mean, it's anything helps. Anything to put the subject forward and bring people aware to it or whatnot. Bob, you got anything else, man?
Um, no, no, I don't think so.
No.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I want to be getting out. I want to be getting out in the woods soon. But for me, I can't plan anything on
Yeah, we
account of
need.
our situation at home. You know, it's either I just get up last minute and say, "Hey guys, I'm going," and everybody's like, "You're a jerk." I guess you can't
We
drop that
need
on me last
to.
minute.
We need to plan another Kubota outing again.
We need what?
Another Kubota outing.
Yeah, yeah,
Once the
absolutely. No,
weather's
I
warm
am
enough, and
100%. I'm down.
I'd love to come back out to Florida.
yeah, see,
We can. I can get a
I've got,
permit out there at the group campground, and we can make it a thing, man.
Right.
I've got a
Sounds
Kubota side
exciting.
by side, and we'll take that out in the Ocala National Forest, and we can cover 40 miles in a day versus
Yeah.
2. You know,
Right.
it's like we just ride around until we see something of interest, and
It's also
we
our way
found
to minimize ticks. Yeah.
we found a lot of most everything we found was on those Kubota journeys.
Yeah. I would
It's
say everything we found.
yeah, it's we know what we're looking for, and we ride around until we see it, and then we get out and start looking, and sure enough, the areas that we say, hey, it's
Yeah, we
almost
got
always something.
the when we found the three-toed pince, and Bobby was talking about that picture that Kathy got. She's
Yeah,
actually just joined the chat with Bigfoot World Cryptids, the Paranormal Central Florida. Oh my God, it's a mouthful. She's a great lady. She's a great lady. And if anybody goes to Bigfoot World Cryptids, the Paranormal Central Florida, I'm not sure if it's on her YouTube page, but if it's on her Facebook page, no, it is. It's her thumbnail. You can see that
that picture.
juvenile right there in her
Yeah,
thumbnail that she
yeah,
got out there where we found those three-toed prints. Those three-toed prints are about what, mile and a half, 2 miles south of a bombing range in the middle of the
yeah,
Ocala National Forest.
yeah, somewhere around there.
I want to get on that bombing range. I've been hearing a lot of stories about Sasquatch and other cryptids on military installations, training
Yeah,
fields and stuff.
I dropped you off at the fence, and I'm gonna go.
Well,
I'll
there's all
come.
these warnings
I'll
that the
come
fences
back when you
say.
call me.
There's warnings all over these fences that say unexplode ammunition in the area. Just keep out. You know, I'm like, well, that just sounds like a deterrent. It's working. It's working.
Yeah, I ain't crossing that fence. I'll drop you off and let you go right over it. But I'll come back for you.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go ahead and bounce and say goodbye to everybody. Josh, once again, bud, thank you for coming on. It was a great show.
Yeah, thank you
Great
for
show.
having me.
You bet. And anytime you want to come back or you want us to come on over to your podcast and hang out, just hit us up, man.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
And tell your dad hi for us. Hope Taps is gonna rock out. You going with Taps in Oklahoma a couple of weeks? Is that correct?
Yep. I'm doing a joint
Yeah.
joint venture thing.
I hope you guys get some good luck over there.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling we're gonna go in a lot deeper this time. So
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, we're going to get out of here. Everybody, thanks for showing up. Bob, great co-host, best friend. Thank you so much. Josh, appreciate it, bud. Thanks for
it was good
answering the
seeing
call. You bet. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a great weekend.
you. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.